Mr. Ntuli says the police does not investigate Sibanyoni because of his alleged political connections. Is this correct?
It's incorrect because we investigate our cases without any fear nor favor.
Yes or no, you have instituted any sort of investigations into Joe Sibanyoni?
I decline to speak along those lines. But who are we investigating currently?
I used to think that South Africa is a drama, it's a movie, and that there's a lot happening in our country. Actually, now I see it as a horror movie, if not a true crime documentary. Because tell me, why is it that people like Fadiel Adams are insulting the courts? People like Fannie Masemola are so confused regarding charges against them. People like Fannie Nkosi are now facing additional charges. There's a protest outside of EKURHULENI that is implicating Lerutla going back to work. And also, Joe Sibanyoni was exposed yesterday in an explosive of ENCA regarding his involvement in the cases that are involving unaliving, but most importantly, how the police fear him, that they don't want to investigate him. Let us talk about these explosive cases that are happening in our country.
What we understand and what Newsroom Africa has reliably learned and can confirm is that the prosecutor didn't just stay away as a form of misconduct or to further frustrate this court, as the defense has put it to the court, saying that this is part of perhaps a delaying tactic by the state. We understand that the prosecutor himself has actually received several threats in regards to this matter. And this is, of course, the reason we are told that the prosecutor did not show up to court today.
Before I can go any further, it is of paramount importance for us to start with this case, because I'm going to look at 5 different cases for us to actually ponder on so that you guys can understand the connection. Firstly, I want to start with the case of MATLALA. Secondly, go to the case of Fadiel Adams. Then move to the cases of Fannie Nkosi, Lerutla and MKHWANAZI, and then close this video by talking about what is happening with Joe Sibanyoni. So the most important thing about VUSUMUZI MATLALA in this segment of this video is to talk about the 360 million tender. So we know that VUSUMUZI MATLALA received a sub 360 million tender, which it was found later that he got irregularly, that the proper procedures and the processes were not followed. So then what happened is that this tender was later on cancelled. However, there's a lot of red flags that were flighted by IDAC that were told to people like Masemola, and he overlooked that from the way it has been described. And it's just so happened that VUSUMUZI MATLALA continued with business as usual up until Senzo Mchunu said this process had to be reviewed, and it was then cancelled. And that was followed by a series of a lot of drama, including arrests that have followed regarding this particular matter of VUSUMUZI MATLALA.
Well, I didn't bring myself in, so I unfortunately don't know also what is happening. And probably somebody somewhere knows what is happening.
What kind of a toll has this taken on you? I mean, you are suspended. I imagine you would rather be out fighting crime.
Well, I can't say much more than that. So, yeah. It's one of those things. I think there is more to it. I don't know what it is, but surely there is more to just the rule of law.
And now he's currently incarcerated, and he's also charged with that corruption case of the 360 million tender. However, there's a twist in this whole thing, because the IDAC have decided that they want to give him a plea deal in exchange for him to give them information regarding these police officers. So what makes this matters worse, guys, is that VUSUMUZI MATLALA was implicated during the testimonies of witness C. Actually, from the time of the press brief, VUSUMUZI MATLALA's name does not cease to be mentioned at the Matlaka Commission. But we heard from witness C that VUSUMUZI MATLALA was recorded when he was incarcerated or after the raids that took place in his house. And when that happened, VUSUMUZI MATLALA revealed certain information regarding people like Senzo Mchunu, how he was paying for ANC events, and how he was giving money to people like Shadrach Sibia, who is on leave deputy national commissioner.
So Lena is someone who, when you mention money, he stops everything. Can I remember when they gave him money inside his office?
Which office?
His office, his national office.
What was that?
That's clear, I think. And I still 200,000 last month. You can see that as a bathroom officially.
But why are you keep paying? I'm still not satisfied with your answers.
Why am I keep paying?
Yeah.
I was trying to look as if now I can look after yourself whenever I want to help now. But for now.
But all of this, VUSUMUZI MATLALA changed the story and denied when he appeared at the ad hoc committee, saying that all of this information was fabricated and that even his phone was tampered with.
Like I said, Chair, I wanted to report this actually, that my phone has been manipulated. And then I even brought my phone here.
But I want you to think about this. The IDAC itself said that there is a probability and a possibility that the phones of Mr. MATLALA was tampered with, because when they found them in the evidence bag, they found them on.
But during the download process and in the presence of the police official who brought those cell phones, the cyber expert made it clear that there were gaps as it became apparent that data had been deleted. Of course, that would have to form part of his report when he makes his report as to when data was deleted and or that there is information missing.
And I want you to ponder on this, because this is a huge red flag. Already the IDAC was seen to be at the side of VUSUMUZI MATLALA. The IDAC received this case around 2025. They didn't do anything regarding this case up until these revelations at the MATLALA Commission, and more than anything, up until there was a call for action to people like VUSUMUZI MATLALA. Andrea Johnson, who's the head of IDAC herself, said she didn't know about VUSUMUZI MATLALA, but she was told about this case in 2025. But now she says she only knew about MATLALA at the MATLALA Commission. Make that sink in. Ask yourself, how is that even possible? If the case was received in 2025 regarding him and the tender that he received, why is it that the IDAC did not investigate at that time? They only heard about him at the MATLALA Commission. How is that even possible when you guys received this particular complaint regarding the tender a long time ago, that you even flagged it at the SARS, but you are saying you only knew about MATLALA at the MATLALA Commission and his dealings?
Into the allegations relating to the SAPS tender, there are many persons that are implicated, both within SAPS as well as Mr. MATLALA and some associates. That investigation continues, and that is how we became involved in that matter. The only matter that IDAC currently is looking at with regards to Mr. MATLALA relates to the 360 million rand tender.
That is the first red flag. The second red flag is that we know that they wanted Masemola to be joined in the proceedings that are implicating Mr. MATLALA. And that in and of itself is a red flag, because that is a corruption case that is different from that which Fannie Masemola is faced with, which is a PFMA charge. But they wanted to see him in the dock with MATLALA. If you guys can even look at these visuals, it does not even look nice to see the on-leave National Police Commissioner with this person that is said to be part of the Big Five, which is VUSUMUZI MATLALA. The third red flag is that the IDAC is very much heavily involved in the arrest of Kuman. That even Lieutenant MKHWANAZI criticized and said, this is a case, it's a labor case, but we see the IDAC at the forefront of this case.
Commissioners, as you see, they are charged for irregular appointment, not operations or misuse of funds or crime intelligence, nothing of that sort, but the regular appointment. And they are accusing Brigadier Mokwela for having received gratification, which is the salary that the organization is going to pay her over a period of 12 months. So she's arrested and charged for receiving that salary that she has not received. This team is charged. I'm not going to dwell much into the charge sheet, but what is interesting on this one is that the magistrate then comes with a court ruling that says on the bail condition, they must never enter any premises of crime intelligence in the country. That is the interesting part in relation to this case. That's what strengthened our commitment in terms of fighting the syndicate, that this is a strategy employed by them to make sure that these investigations are stalled. And the people that are playing part here, it's IDAC. With all this expectation from from government that IDAC is going to deal with serious cases, but they confine themselves with dealing with labor-related matters.
And then it happened that they're involved in this labor matter. It has nothing to do with the work of the IDAC, but they've been targeting those people. Right now, we even heard that there was a warrant of arrest on Lieutenant Nkhosi, even though the IDAC clarified those rumors and said they are not true. But I wouldn't be shocked if they are later on, because we know that there is a case currently that is open with IDAC regarding these alleged allegations of torture that Lieutenant Nkhosi is faced with. So they've just been having these cases that they're just targeting certain police officers. They're doing the work that the IPID was supposed to do. And they're actually doing it heavily. They don't even look at other corruption cases. They're very much focused on these particular police officers. Not that we are saying that they shouldn't arrest them, but I think what you should understand is just a pattern and proportionality. And just use that reasonable test person where you're asking yourself, will a reasonable person in IDAC only target these people because they haven't done anything? Hence the way Aria was heavily asked at the ad hoc committee regarding other arrests that are involving other personals, and she couldn't really articulate as to why other people have not been arrested. Instead, they've been targeting these generals. We know that with Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, he's the head of the PKTT. I don't know if the reason why he's being targeted, including Masemola, is because of these arrests that have been happening, including the arrest of Mr. Fadiel.
Thank you, Commissioners. Between the period 2022 to date, or to 2024, I was based in Pretoria as the Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence full-time, and I was also still the project coordinator of the Political Killings Task Team.
And also, if you guys can remember the last appearance of the officials, including Fannie Masemola and VUSUMUZI MATLALA, they said that they want to keep him at Hoshimampuru. But one most important thing that the IDAC or the state said was with regards to a new information that they had. And I think that was them signaling to this whole plea deal that they are concluding with VUSUMUZI MATLALA.
There were certain financial investigations that had to be concluded. That's at an advanced stage. The state is just waiting for a few bank statements to conclude its financial analysis.
We know that IDAC has started by ensuring that Mr. VUSUMUZI MATLALA is brought back here in Hoshimampuru from Ebongweni, because he was moved to Ebongweni last year. But now the IDAC is part of the people that were at the forefront fighting for Mr. VUSUMUZI MATLALA to be brought back to Hoshimampuru, which is in Pretoria.
We placed it on record that on the 26th of March, consultations were held between his attorney and the state at Hoshimampuru. On the 27th of March, there was a request from the team from the Matlanga Commission that they also want to have consultations with him, and the state granted that. On the 28th, when we went to have further consultations, it emerged that he is no longer kept at Hoshimampuru, and it was clear that he was taken back to Kokstad. And unfortunately today he was a no-show because it turns out he's not in Hoshimampuru, so the matter had to be postponed to 20 April. We've made a request to that effect that the court should order for correctional services, that is if he's in Kokstad, for him to be brought to Hoshimampuru within 72 hours. But the court saw it differently, and it ordered that he be brought to Hoshimampuru within 96 hours for consultations to commence.
So when you look at that situation, you get to understand and see that the IDAC has been trying to get this person, and not just the IDAC. We also are not just the situation of him being transferred back to Hoshimampuru from Ebongweni. We also know that from the Jermaine Prim letter, Jermaine Prim explicitly stated that IDAC and NPA went to visit VUSUMUZI, had a call. I don't know if it was an actual visit or a call with VUSUMUZI MATLALA. And we don't even know what was discussed, but they said that MATLALA must not implicate Senzo Mchunu or must not speak bad about Senzo Mchunu or say that he knows Senzo Mchunu. But all I'm saying is that IDAC has been trying to get information or sway this whole process and invite Mr. VUSUMUZI MATLALA to actually do what they want in exchange for a plea deal. I wouldn't be shocked that even the IDAC has played a role in swaying and speaking to Tebogo Tobechane, because Tebogo Tobechane right now is changing the entire story, saying that she was forced to give a statement against VUSUMUZI MATLALA. That particular statement is currently with the IPID. We don't know if indeed this is true or not, but we'll see as the time goes by as to whether Tebogo Tobechane did this voluntarily or the IDAC might be involved. But what we see is that the IDAC is fighting by all means to take Mr. VUSUMUZI MATLALA out of that prison. I want to say this as some points in limine. I'm shocked that Times Live actually took out this particular episode, which is Sunday Times, because last week it was decided, and the court decided, that they will only publish things that were spoken about in courts, not things that they found out from other people or sources or whatever the case may be.
My lord, this is unacceptable. So I want, while the media is present here, and let me make it quite clear, we as the prosecuting team and as representatives of the MPA embrace media, free press in a democratic society. That is why we've got media liaising officers at our office, and that is why we've always maintained an open and friendly relationship with the media. But this was unexpected and uncalled for. At no stage did the Sunday Times approach our media liaison office or us as the prosecuting team, just to give us a pre-warning of what they plan to do. So, my lord, I would ask this court to, I think, once more lay down the rules of media reporting in this matter. Whatever is said in this open court can be ventilated to their heart's content. But to publish, and we still can only speculate how copies of my police docket, of our police docket, came into possession of the press.
And that's the thing. It looks like that did not work. And I think if this legal representative of MATLALA continue probing, probably Sunday Times might have a good case, because this is the information that they didn't get from the dockets or they didn't get from anybody. Some of this information, like this particular one that they've published, they got from the sources. I don't know who are those sources. So I don't know if this actually can be done. It's practical what this legal representative of MATLALA is asking for. I doubt that it's actually practical, because even if you can stop Times Live, if a whistleblower approaches Times Live about an information that they know regarding this particular case, imagine they can't publish. I don't know. Let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear, guys, what you think about this whole situation, which takes me now to the case of Fadiel Adams and the current charges that he's faced with. So Fadiel Adams appeared before the ad hoc committee, made a lot of allegations regarding Sindiso Magata and how he went to prison to visit the person who is the person that is currently accused or is charged for the unaliving of Sindiso Magata. But that's the thing, this man went there illegally, used the blue lights, took recordings and recorded that particular interview in prison unlawfully. And I want to tell you, South Africans, as someone who has practiced and has went to prison to visit clients, I have never heard it that you enter with a cell phone. Even us ourselves, you leave your cell phone with the reception before you go inside. What type of special treatment did Fadiel Adams have? But here are some of the core arguments that were made by the state regarding this particular situation. State looked at the issues of the attempt to evade trial because they relied heavily on a supplementary affidavit. They said they want the proof of address that has his name, not the address that has the wife's name. They also looked at the attempt to influence, intimidate, and conceal or destroy evidence, and said that he contacted witnesses and wanted to talk to them. He voice called them, he WhatsApp called them, he sent them calls over and over again, including a video call, because he wanted a statement to be sent to them, the one that the witness gave to the police.
With the said cellular phones in violation of the DCS policy that regulates access control by ensuring that no visitor is allowed to consult, interview an inmate whilst in possession of his or her cellular phone. He took a video footage of Mr. B.A. Dlamini inside the prison, showing the inside of an office therein. After doing so, he arranged for the said footage to be circulated on social media.
Said that he's going to undermine the proper function of the criminal justice system, and that was in reference to the Equality Court judgment when he said some racist remarks and he was ordered to actually apologize. And he said that fuck the court, and also said that he will not apologize to that boost.
Respondent is ordered to enroll for and undertake a program of racial sensitivity training at his own expense by end of 30 May 2024. Importantly, the fourth order, the respondent is ordered to file a report to this court and serve it upon the complainant, evidencing his compliance with paragraph 2, 3, 4 of this order by 31 May 2024. What's his response? Lock me up. I want to apologize to that. The Equality Court finds that I've discriminated against the city manager, who's discriminated against me, against us. The court. I'm not going to apologize to that. I'm not going to mention that name again. The court.
This was because they argued that he has a history of giving the court's middle finger, and that he has no obligation from Parliament to actually go and make this visit to prison. And then there's nothing on Dumisani Khumalo on the issue of defeating the ends of justice, and that these issues are the reasons why he must not be given bail. But it looks like the courts were so lenient because the defense focused more on his personal circumstances, his role as a political leader, and the fact that he's a father, and that the people, more than just his family, are reliant on him. And the courts then used that to say that he's a family man and his personal circumstances make it easy for them to think that he actually deserves the bail.
As I have said, your evidence indicates that you are a family man, you have ties to South Africa, you have means to travel to your place of trial should this matter proceed to trial. You also, at this point in time, hold a position in Parliament, and that cannot be ignored. This court is fully cognizant of the Constitution of South Africa, which provides that no person ought to be deprived of his liberty and freedom arbitrarily, and if it is in the interest of justice to do so, an arrested person is entitled to be released from detention on bail. Ultimately, when considering bail, the overall question to be adjudicated upon is whether or not the applicant would stand trial. In considering the evidence placed before me, I am then satisfied that you are a suitable candidate to be released on bail.
He then got the bail. The magistrate then ruled that he must get the bail and that he must always remember what the justice has done for him. But listen, immediately when he went out, he spoke about something and he said the gloves are off. We know, as I've said, Fidel Adams has been at the core priding himself of being the one who ensured that Masemola is arrested, Khumalo is arrested. He's just been that man. And now saying the gloves are off has a lot of connotations. You can make a lot of meaning out of this whole thing of the gloves are off.
It's been a long week, but we're good.
Anything you need to say?
I just want to get to my kids. I just want to get to my mother. I'm going to take 2 days off, and then the gloves come off. That's all I'm going to say for now.
This is a man we know that is on the faction of people like Shadrack Sibiya, Shandik Stewart, who have always spoken bad about these three generals specifically, or namely Masemola, Khumalo, and MKHWANAZI. I don't know what you guys make of these bail, but Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI sent a very strong message to Fadiel Adams, who was making claims that the arrest was unlawful. They were not supposed to arrest him that way and take him from Cape Town to Durban. Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI said if he feels like there was anything wrong done, he must then go to IPID and report them.
Decided, yes, you can sign a warrant of arrest. Then the police must execute it. It says warrant of arrest, so you must arrest. And after you've arrested, how you transport a person from one point to another, it is prescribed in the organization. What sometimes you tend to see, the people that talk before they understand what happened. So maybe people should just allow time for whatever has happened to be ventilated in court. If you have, of course, an information that whatever the police have done, the motive was something else, not what they are presenting before court, but then you can approach any other body, any structure. We have IPID. If you feel the police have abused someone's rights, there is human rights as an institution of government that exists. And say Parliament, I have issues with this. And the Parliament will then have to invite the police management to come and explain themselves.
That is the big challenge that is faced with. We'll see over time what the Fadiel Adams is going to do, but we saw now a lot of calmness from him, which shows that he has learned his lesson. I don't know, we'll just see as the time goes by. Probably was just humbled because he just wanted the bail, just wanted to be out of that prison cell. We'll see as the time goes by what actually happens. Then I want to move forward to the issue of Lerutla and MKHWANAZI. So Lerutla and MKHWANAZI also appeared last week before the courts, but what is so crazy is that the matter was postponed and Lerutla is going back to work today.
He's on special leave currently. We will expect that he will return to work after that leave is expired. He did take special leave in order to deal with his personal legal matters.
So there was a special council sitting that took place last week where we understand that the issue of Mr. Lerutla was placed on that particular meeting. Subsequent to that, what was the outcome and what do you expect to happen, and how crucial is today's court appearance for the council?
An item was tabled in council. The item basically just outlined what this current legal process is about, the charges, and where are we in terms of the court case. Council did deliberate on the matter. They did decide that they require a legal note in terms of a way forward and how to deal with the matter. So in the next council meeting, the legal note will be part of the item and it will be deliberated in council.
But there's currently a protest outside of EKURHULENI to say that he must not go back to work, especially pending this particular case against him. Even though people have argued that this case is a case that happened a long time ago and has never disturbed his work. But others are saying that even if that is the case, Lerutla needs to account and the city of EKURHULENI should not overlook these charges that Lerutla is currently faced with.
Interest of council in the main. And let's uphold at all times the available prescription. The city manager is not on suspension. We have not arrived at that decision. No, we have not arrived. No, you see, I'm saying, even if you want to arrive at that point, you have to have an item, but for us to activate that item, it has to be this council that says go ahead and do it. It has been happening like that. And now, yes, that's what needs to happen.
We know that Lerutla hired Mr. X to go and impersonate him in court regarding a case, speeding ticket case, and he went for his interview. And we saw that Mr. X did not appear in the dock with Lerutla and MKHWANAZI because it was confirmed that Mr. X is about to turn state witness during the arguments that were made by the legal representative of Julius MKHWANAZI and Lerutla. So it does not really look good for these two gentlemen. Then I want to look at this aspect of Fannie Nkosi. So Fannie Nkosi, there is additional charges that he's faced with. From what has been reported is that these charges is that on the 10th of November 2022, a suspect was arrested for possession of dagga, unlicensed firearm and explosives. Investigations indicate that Sergeant Nkosi fetched the original case docket under the pretext that he has been sent by head office. A few months later, he allegedly returned to Thohoyandou, identified himself as a colonel from head office, and removed the confiscated dagga from the police custody. He later booked in the exhibit at the head office, but it was later discovered that one of the exhibit bag containing the dagga was tampered with. The case is of defeating and obstructing the cause of justice has been registered with the investigation. So this is what has been reported. And I'm not going to lie, I 100% believe this is possible. We know that Fannie Nkosi, there was a raid in his house. They found a lot of explosives, money, cash, a lot of cash. They also found police dockets that are concerning the cash in transit. And when he appeared at the Matlanga Commission, it was revealed that these cash in transit cases were given to Steve Mutsumi. If I'm not mistaken, it was between Mtagat and Steve Mutsumi.
As you had to collect a suspect in vendor for Musina case 210/09/2022, the charge was cash in transit. You recall that?
That's correct.
Can you describe to the Commission what this case is about and who the suspects are?
Commissioner, the case is about cash in transit, position of hijacked motor vehicle, position of unlicensed firearms, and ammunition.
And so, am I to understand that this relates to a cash in transit robbery with stolen vehicles and unlicensed firearms?
That's correct.
And do you know who the suspects are? Can you recall their names?
Tobile Natoshi, Eric Matele Musa, and Bongani Kumalo.
And you've been working on this case for 3.5 years now. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's actually the fingerprint set for the Musina case.
That's correct.
The application that you made was on the 7th of June. What we see at page 556 is that on the 14th of June at 9:43, you forwarded 2 photographs to Mr. Mutsumi.
That's correct.
One was the application for the fingerprint identification to be assigned to to Warrant Officer Motau, and the second was a picture of the fingerprint set itself.
That's correct.
Why did you forward these police documents to Mr. Mutsumi?
Okay, thank you, commissioners. On that particular day or on that week, let me bring this to the attention of the commissioners. I am a biker, a motorcycle rider. Mr. Mutsumi is a motorcycle rider. I am his mentor. He's my mentee. As a result, Mr. Mutsumi, I was supposed to ride with him to a breakfast ride that weekend to Hartebeers.
So when these dockets were given to these people, it then was revealed that even the fingerprints of that particular case were given to these people. So the entire dockets was given to Mtagat and Steve Mutsumi, which makes you ask yourself, what is the interest of these people in these particular matters that Nkosi might go and give? Hence, the basis or the real reasons why he did not even get the bail to begin with is because of his actions. It's because of what he has done. And what he has done is this thing of taking police targets and doing what he's doing, pretending so that he can get hold or get his hands on investigations that do not even concern him.
Warrant Officer Mutau, that says, and I'll quote, "The Scotch tape and black folion were scanned on APHIS and no identifications were made. The black and white folions were sealed and taken to Brits LCRC fingerprints lab for processing, but no fingerprints were found from the exhibits. The exhibits were sealed in bag number PW3000, gives the number, and handed back to yourself for safekeeping on the 8th of July. So what this draft statement that we've seen on your phone says is that on the 16th of July, you forward the details of the fingerprint examiner and the fingerprint bag to Mr. Mutsumi, and this is in respect of a cash in transit case. And on the 8th of July, the person whose details you had forwarded to Mr. Mutsumi reports that there are no fingerprints. Do you want to comment on that?
I don't know, or I don't understand exactly your question.
Even if they can say these investigations concern him, but giving such information to just mere people, to civilians that are not even in the subs, makes you ask yourself questions as to what is the interest of these people in these cases? Why is Nkosi giving such information to civilians? Sensitive information that is still being investigated. And that in and of itself will make you ask yourself, how probable is this that which is being reported? I just think that Yindelendlela for Nkosi, it's too long. And I wouldn't be shocked if when the second leg, when the third leg of the MATLALA Commission begins, they will just say he doesn't have to come anymore because we have heard enough. And what we know is that he's facing serious charges at this moment without even the MATLALA report. I just think it will be hard for him to get out of that jail. It's the same situation as Brown Mogotsi, whose case has currently been postponed, I think 25th of May, because I think that this postponement to the 25th of May is not going to be postponed. I think Brown Mogotsi is facing serious jail time. He must just brace himself. It will be luck if he gets this particular bail, because not everyone is like Fadiel Adams who gets that luck. Not everyone is like MKHWANAZI, because remember, Fidel Adams, it was not even scheduled 5 or 6, whereas Brown Mogotsi is facing serious allegations, and also he's going to face additional charges. And that one, I will bet with you as a viewer if you want to bet.
Well, we are still looking for the firearm that was used in this particular crime scene. We have not found it. We are still searching for it.
He's not comfortable eating. He has indicated to me that perhaps prison would be much, at Johannesburg Correctional Services, it would be much better. But he was complaining about the food at this particular police station. And he has hardly ate between Friday and now. But he's hopeful that once he's at Johannesburg Correctional Services, he will be able to eat.
As you're talking about Mogotsi, just a little bit thing I wanted to say about Mogotsi is that the legal representative want to actually get the police officers, charge them or open a case against police officers for unlawful or wrongful arrest. Hi guys, I don't know what these legal representatives are doing. You can't start talking about such things before you even finish the case. First, hear the state's case before you can speak about unlawful arrest or unlawful detention or whatever the case may be. I'm so disappointed that his legal representatives have taken this shady stance. It really does not make sense to me. Probably it does to you, because I think it's premature. I just think that they should wait for this case to first be heard, hear the evidence, then when the court has decided that Brown Mogotsi is not guilty, then they can take this particular stance. Let us move right along now to the last topic, which is the one of Joe Sibanyoni. So Joe Sibanyoni, together with his co-accused, which is Bafana Sindeni, the king of the sky, they have been accused Not just them only, but there's two other accused. So in the dock, it's 4 of them. They've been accused of money laundering and extortion amounting to 2.2 million in the illegal protection fees of a certain businessman in Mpumalanga.
Now we are targeting, or we are arresting the big shots, if I can put it that way, because extortion is really a problem in Mpumalanga, and we believe that by arresting these 3 suspects, it will send a strong message to other extortionists in the province.
And it was revealed yesterday by Carter Blanche that actually Sibanyoni is more corrupt than what we think. Actually, he's even operating in Mpumalanga without even having the permit. And more than anything, the police fear him in that particular area. But before we can delve deep on this particular case, I want to tell you about Ubafana Sindeni.
To be a blue shirt and dark pants, Mthweni exits his taxi, presumably to oversee the filling of his tank. 2 men stroll into view. They nonchalantly pull out weapons and fire a hail of bullets into Mthweni. A third appears, firing the final shots before discharging a random bullet in the opposite direction. And Prosecutor were brought in from outside the district to minimize risk. Ntuli says this man, Sibanyoni, nicknamed Ferrari, pictured here with wads of cash, has been orchestrating the bloodbath.
Akunamuntu esilwanayo la kwamhlanga, but umuntu from somewhere eGauteng uza la kwamhlanga ukuthi azosimuka the very same person uSibanyoni, Sibanyoni.
From what Checkpoint has gathered, Sibanyoni is a taxi tycoon, well connected to Mzansi celebrities, but his network is believed to extend beyond the world of glitz and glamour.
Politically connected kiyo yonke lento le ngoba nakuphela izinto ziyenzeka mara akuna any action ethathwako.
The chairman's suspicions stem from alleged prolonged police inaction. 7 years ago, Sibanyoni led 4 armed henchmen into Kulta offices, says Ntuli. He says the men were from a Pretoria-based taxi association.
Ihlangano yabo eyaziwa ngokuthi iSalbo, is South African local and long distance taxi bus organization. So ke ngiboke ebafikako bangisusa eofisini kwaba nabantu abawu4 ebabe ngikhombe ngezibhamu ngegidi. Ngaziphumela ke ofisini zange ngihle ngiphikisane nabo. Ngo2014 ngakhitshwa khona njengo deputy chairperson ngakhitshwa ngegidi.
So Bafana Sindeni is also a known business person. He's also in the taxi industry. And it has been alleged that he is very moneyed. And the reason why they called him the king of the sky is because he loves jets. He's always using private jets and all of that. He's that moneyed. Now we are finding out that he's actually best friends with Sibanyoni. And they have been extorting people in that particular place of Mpumalanga. And also, there's been a lot of unaliving that are involved. And he seems to be the person who does the dirty work. Even though he does not go and does the unaliving, he hires people. And these are the allegations that were made by one of the business people that have appeared in this episode of Checkpoint.
Police refused to open a case of armed intimidation, Ntuli says.
Ngoba kuthiwa mtele ngichaze ukuthi labantu laba bebabafitshane or bebababade isigidi esibebasibambe ngasiphi isandla njalo njalo izinto ezifana nalezo, therefore bathi case ayikhona ukuvuleka ngaleyo ndlela.
Ntuli believes certain police officers have accepted bribes to make cases go away.
But ngokuyizwa ngamahlebezi kunamanye amaphoyisa ayimukele briefcase.
According to Ntuli, Sibanyoni never gets his hands dirty.
Namanje lapha esiphoyiseni uclean, akunanto nayinye emthindako, ayikho nayinye into emthindanisa nayo. But mina ngobanyana into lewayenza kimi ngo2014 kungakho ngikhona ukukhuluma lula ukuthi kwakunguye nanje kusesenguye.
Ntuli accuses Sibanyoni of operating his taxis at the KwaMhlanga rank without an operating license.
Uza kutshela ukuthi yena ulayitsha konke nje noma kuseDurban noma kukuphi uyalayitsha. Ufuna ukuthi irenke le yakwaMhlanga ibe ngeyakhe icontrol kuye. Kube nomuntu ke ofonako wangifonela direct wathi ngilethe i-association yakwaMhlanga ngiyilethe ePitori. Manje umbuzo wami waba ukuthi kanti i-association le yakwaMhlanga ithe iza control ePitori njani ngobanyana iPitori i-under Gauteng thina si-under Mpumalanga. Lo muntu okade angifonela association yakhe yiSalbo, iSalbo nyakaJoe.
Okay.
Alapha bengijikajiki.
Week in, week out, Ntuli says he receives death threats.
So ke lo muntu lo wangithusela ukuthi uyakwazi nala ngihlala khona, uyazi nokuthi ngikhamba ngani. Into engamphendula ngayo ngathi no ngikulindile iza uzokubulala, ngithi uyabulala, iza uzokubulala.
Joe Sibanyoni declined granting checkpoint an on-camera interview.
Because ufake igama lakho and ukhuluma izinto eziningi ezithinta wena. Uthena wena uyimember yena uthi wena awuyona imember yaseGold.
Sibanyoni then turned the tables and accused Ntuli of the murders.
Usho ukuthi uyena uRoger wena ngokubona kwakho uyena uRoger umuntu obulala abantu.
Yebo.
Okay, so wena ukazi umkhiphe office ngespam.
No, ngangikwenze lo.
Okay.
Njengoba kunofuna ukunganakuthula lapha, kule-executive yalapha phakathi le ayixosha yena.
Pho yini leni banga kangaka noRoger?
Usangeneke mama. Sangashida zanga sazwana vele kwakudala ke samanje ungazwani bamna. Ungangena ndaba nokuthi azwani noRoger. Manje ngiyeza ngizosebenzela imali yami ngingasebenzelayo.
What makes the matters worse, though, guys, is that the police officers that have been investigating this particular matters that involve taxi violence have been very afraid of Mr. Joe Sibanyoni because of the way they even answered during this particular interview. Please check what was going on with that particular case when they were asked regarding the outcomes and why Joe Sibanyoni has not yet been charged. We're living in a very sensitive time in South Africa. The reason why right now people like Joe Sibanyoni are being arrested, the men who have been untouchable, these cases or this particular episode is something that happened in 2021. The reason why the actions are being taken now is because of all thanks to the platforms like MATLALA'S Commission and people that have blown the whistle, including Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI. Hence, the untouchable are now touched. Hence, the untouchable are now being put into the table of accountability and justice. Currently, the case of Joe Sibanyoni is going through the bail hearing, and it does not look good in that particular court because, number one, there's heavy guards, of which the heavy guards guys are there not because of Joe Sibanyoni, but because that particular court is privy, or that particular court is susceptible to these people coming to unalive witnesses, unalive people before they go to court. Hence, the reason why they have such high levels of security. And then secondly is that it seems like the magistrates don't know what they're doing. They brought this case without even being properly prepared. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so disappointed at how the magistrates have been handling this particular case. They don't look prepared. They don't look they know what they're doing. Even the arguments that have been raised, because the personal circumstances have been displayed, even though that thing is not broadcasted, but personal circumstances have been told to the courts. All the information that has been needed has been given to the courts.
I was arrested at my residence in Centurion Golf Estate at around 4:30 during the early hours of the morning of 12 May 2026 by approximately 30 members of the South African Police Service. Whilst I was advised that I was placed under arrest and that they had obtained a warrant for my arrest, I was regrettably not handed a copy thereof. Neither was I informed of the charges of arrest. My wife inquired what I was being arrested for, and one of the white policemen replied that she should ask Cat MATLALA.
But that's the thing, the bail application has still not yet been properly done, and we're still going to see today if whether Mr. Joe Sibanyoni is going to receive bail after the magistrate has been there to court and seen all the arguments that are going to be raised either by the state and by the defense. Sindani also on the other hand tried to not come and be charged with the arrest up until there was some kind of like a threat on his life that if you don't come, we're going to come to you and arrest you. We're giving you a chance to come hand yourself. But Sindeni has refuted and said that he was going to hand himself at the right time. This is a man who has been moneyed, who likes the sky, who has private jets. He could have went there as soon as he could. Yes, it does look like the plan was for him to not actually appear before this particular platform.
Accused did not hand himself because he was having a choice. Because the circumstances were compelling. He tried to flee, but it failed. On the 12th of May, accused 1, 2, 3 were arrested in the early hours of the morning. In Pretoria around 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. After they were arrested, around after 2 hours, the police went to accuse them. Unfortunately, they did not find him. Apparently, he got a tip off that the police are coming. He then fled. And people confirmed that he was here just right now.
He refers to himself as a man of God, Mr. Sibanyoni, even though we know that he's a man of God who's just been filled with a lot of negativity around him. It has never been positive. There's even attempted unalivings on his life. Even to this day, we wish to know why VUSUMUZI Matala has ordered that attempted unaliving on his life if he's just an innocent man of God.
No, I'm not right. Yeah.
Do you believe that the state has no case here against you?
No case angeni mina ngithi okwamanje ngizoshumayela njengoba kuney'boshwe ejele kodwa ngoba nje izwi lakaNkulunkulu ngesikhathi sokuthi manje ngishumayela ejele kuphela.
Are you innocent? Are you innocent?
Mina nginceke kaNkulunkulu.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I've been preaching all the way. You know me, Mos. I'm a man of God.
No comment. No comment.
Mr. Sindana, do you have anything to say?
No, I don't have anything to say. I'm free now.
How do you feel
this guy is free. No, I don't have anything to say. I've got my lawyer. I'm represented.
Do you believe that you're innocent?
Yes, I'm innocent. But I've got my
Do you believe
lawyer.
about charges that have been
No, there's no charges, you saw, man. There's no charges, man. My lawyer will talk to you.
And also, I wanted to now, as a last point, exhaust what his legal representative has placed. His legal representative have said that Sibanyoni did not extort anybody or take anyone's money. Instead, this businessman in question, is actually owing money to Mr. Sibanyoni.
There was a business transaction that ran for a period of 3 years.
To the value of how much?
I'm not certain with the numbers. I'm not certain with the figures. We'll see what the state says. I'll compare it to what my client says and what my client's version is. But the complainant is somebody that's been at my client's residence. He's a friend. Everything is achieved to date. He's achieved because of assistance through my client. He's a person who borrowed money from my client.
What was the fallout then? How did we get here?
He's a person who borrowed money from our client and, of course, who repaid money. But we will ventilate our issues in court. There's no extortion. There's no money laundering.
But now, here is a twist of events. This whole thing started on Wednesday. The prosecutor was nowhere to be found inasmuch as there was no designated judge to adjudicate on this matter. But that was not the biggest problem. The biggest problem was the issue of the prosecution. It looks like the NPA was not ready, which is the state representing the state, was not ready for this case. Because from the time of Sibanyoni's appearance on Wednesday to Friday, there has been a lot of issues with the prosecutor that even the judge had to order for the prosecutor to appear by force in a way, which was supposed to be Monday.
You know, if your words really express your attitude in what you are dealing with, are quite unfortunate. Very unfortunate, if not bordering on unprofessional.
I was just being honest. and I did not see where maybe I uttered any word that was unprofessional.
Are you being professional now?
I am.
With your questions, because I was not even done with what I was saying.
He was supposed to appear on Monday by force, but on Monday he did not appear, which then led to the case being struck off the roll. So the court or the magistrate then decided that this matter be struck off the roll.
And I will authorize a warrant for his arrest. Also, the court will report his conduct to the LPC and to his seniors at the office of the NDPP or the DPP in Mpumalanga. The second application was for the court to strike this matter off the roll, or to admit the accused persons to bail as per their applications. I like Section 342A because it prevents undue delays in the courts. And I think this is one classic case of undue delay of a proceedings. And I'm inclined, therefore, as I do now, strike the matter off the roll in terms of Section 342A, subsection 3.
Because number one, the prosecution is nowhere to be found, did not appear, and these people have been trying to apply for bail, trying to put their arguments forward from Wednesday, and today is Monday. There is no movement. We know that the Constitution says that everybody has a right to fair trial, and that accused persons have a right to bail. And that is a contravention of the law if this matter is not heard in time. And these postponements, you might think that it's just postponements, but these are just unusual postponements. But we then found out from one of the reporters that actually there's a possibility that the prosecutor has been threatened. And it is said that the sources have revealed that he's received a lot of threats with regards to this case, which then proves the point that I've been making, of trying to make in this video, that we are dealing with a really dangerous person. This is a person that went and colonized Mpumalanga's taxi business, took over it without even having the necessary permit, that is even accused of the unalivings that are happening, the violence in the taxi industry. We know that he also was in fights with MKHWANAZI. I think I did make a video regarding that, the first video about the arrest of Sibanyoni. He had a lot of fights with MKHWANAZI, that Sibanyoni was even accused of the unalivings that were happening in the taxi industry. So it's not a shock that this man is that powerful that the prosecutor has been actually suspended.
This wouldn't be the first time, in particular, as we've seen high-profile cases of certain individuals before the courts in the months that we've seen, where prosecutors have been essentially reporting that their lives may be in danger. And so Newsroom Africa, aware of the fact that the prosecutor in this matter may have actually been threatened, and that could have been the reason why today he chose not to show up in court for his own safety. Despite this, of course, questions again are being raised about, justice, about fairness as well. Given the fact that the magistrate was told that the prosecutor wouldn't be able to make it today, questions are, was it fair to essentially put that order on him to appear in court, despite knowing that he had prior commitments before this court matter? There's also then the issue as well of a blunder of justice in regards to the conduct of the MPA and the state prosecutor in as far as communication goes. But so
the prosecutor is actually nowhere to be found. I definitely think that high chances they're threatened. Hence, such cases, they need a really strong prosecutor who's well experienced. They can't take an amateur who just recently got admitted as a prosecutor. They need someone that actually has the experience, knows how this industry runs, and has the bravery, the resources, as well as the strength to deal with such cases. Then I wanted to quickly move to the issue of the striking of the roll. What does it mean? Striking of the roll, it's like dropping the charges. It's not the end. It doesn't mean that it's over. It doesn't mean that it's over. It just solely means that right now they're striking the matter of the roll for reasons that will be provided by the courts. In this instance, the prosecutor is nowhere to be found, and there is right now an order to arrest him because he's currently in contempt since on Friday he was ordered to come and appear on Monday. Secondly is that this matter can still be re-enrolled as soon as the NPA is ready. As to whether they're going to use the same prosecutor or someone different, I don't know what they're going to do. Hence, it's very important to protect NPA, to protect prosecutors, because we know how prosecutors, it's easy for them to be intimidated in such cases and also even be unalived in the process. Hence, you need someone that has the proper qualifications and the proper experience to deal with such matters. I hope that the NPA, if they're going to communicate this whole communicate with the public regarding the conduct of the prosecutor in this matter, they're going to designate another prosecutor. Because if indeed there are charges of extortion and money laundering, these are serious offenses, and I don't think that they should just put them under a rug and we forget that this actually happens. I'm hopeful that actually it's going to get to a point where they're going to bring the necessary people to come forward. They're going to bring the necessary people to come forward and continue with this matter. They're going to re-enroll the matter so that it goes back on the roll and they charge people like Joe Sibanyoni again. But I think now this time they should ensure that they make it simpler, because last time they did arrest them, whatever way they arrested them, this time either they should summon them to court because they already arrested them, or they should give them a notice to appear and be arrested, so that to be arrested and be appearing in court, because we don't want double jeopardy where someone is then charged with something more than once, with one crime more than once. They've already charged them, they've already arrested them. I think now if the matter is going to be re-enrolled, they're already out. It's in a way they're out on bail by default. So I think the best way now is that if they re-enroll the matter, they will just have to give Sibanyoni a date with the legal representatives, then start with the process. Unless maybe the prosecution decides that they're going to arrest them again, start with the bail application again, so that they can prove why they should not be released on bail. But don't panic to those who thought this was the end of it. It's not the end of it. As long as the NPA can persist and get another prosecutor, this matter can be re-enrolled. By next week, this matter can go back to court, or the other week. So it's not the end. It's just that the current prosecutor that was dealing with the matter botched this whole thing. And I think more than anything, as we are hearing, there were threats on his life. We know that as a businessman, he will garner a lot of support, and sometimes courts are swayed by that particular type of support. So I wouldn't be shocked if Mr. Sibanyoni actually receives the bail. My worry now is with this businessman, if whether this businessman will remain safe, because as I've said, it has been revealed that even the police officers are afraid of Mr. Joe Sibanyoni. These are cases that make you see how our law enforcers, people that are supposed to enforce the law, are compromised. It's another example to show you why we needed people like Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI, why we need the MATLALA Commission, because we have police officers that are compromised, that actually seem like they do not even know what they are doing, that seem like actually they are corrupt, and they're shielding the corrupt in the country because those people have the necessary money or the necessary influence. Therefore, they are untouchable. I don't know what you guys think about all of these particular case. To those that are interested to know about Matipandile Soteni, we will do a special episode about him, depending on whether his bail application actually is heard, and we have known all the arguments that have been placed by the state. Nonetheless, let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear what you think. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you on my next upload. Bye.